I wanted to see if ChatGPT could create the perfect recipe for exactly what I was craving, and we landed on strawberry lemon bread, so let's see how it turns out. Hi and welcome back. It is officially strawberry season and I am very excited about having fresh strawberries. Strawberries are actually like my favorite food, so I am beyond thrilled about spring and strawberries coming. So I actually had this wild idea that why don't I ask ChatGPT to basically create a recipe on all the things that I was kind of craving. That's what I did, and that's what we're gonna test today to see if Chat is actually the chef that we think Chat may or may not be. So I have to admit, the recipe looks pretty good. I was kind of surprised at how ChatGPT laid it out, and I basically put in the prompt of, I want something with strawberries, I want something with lemons, I want the strawberries to be fresh. I said that I wanted it to be a type of bread, and I guess it's no surprise that it just came up with strawberry lemon bread, but it still created the entire recipe, even with tips and things like that. So that's why I was kind of like, okay, let's do this. Let's try this. So first things first, I need to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. So one of the tips, it said to use fresh, ripe strawberries, not overly ripe so that the texture is good. So you still want them to be a little bit solid. You also want to cut them in half and pat them dry. So I'm gonna do that really quickly. So you want a full cup of strawberries diced up, and I'm going to try to get these all the same size. As you can see, some of my strawberries are a lot bigger than the other ones, so I'm just going to cut them so, like I said, they're all pretty close to the same size. Okay, so we have 1 cup of strawberries, and I'm just gonna put these on a paper towel lined plate because you're supposed to pat and dry. And then we're actually gonna take a tablespoon of flour and toss the strawberries in it so that they can get fully coated by the flour. Then they're not gonna sink to the bottom, or they're not supposed to. That's the tip, and that's what we're going to try. So I'm just gonna sit these to the side. I patted them dry, and then let them just dry a little bit more, and I will toss them in the flour in a little bit. All right, so the next thing that Chat wants you to do is actually put together all of your dry ingredients. So this calls for 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I feel like you probably could do freshly milled, but I didn't put that in my prompt, so it did say to use all-purpose flour, so that's what I'm going to do. If this turns out really good, then I may get Chat to update it to use freshly milled flour. Next, it calls for 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and then 1 full teaspoon of baking powder. Next, we need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, along with 1/4 cup of sugar. So Chat would be so disappointed. I've already messed up. I put the sugar with the dry ingredients instead of with the wet ingredients. So I did scoop out a little bit of the sugar and put in here. We're just gonna go with it because guess what? When you're baking, sometimes you make mistakes. And if that ruins this bread, I highly doubt the sugar not being completely in with the wet ingredients was what completely destroyed this recipe. Could be, I'm not a professional baker. But then we are gonna add 2 eggs. I'm gonna do 1/2 cup of olive oil. Oh, this is gonna take a minute. Okay, that took forever. Then 1/4 cup of milk, and it didn't specify whether that should be whole milk or 2% milk. I only have 2% right now, so that's what this is going to get. Now it calls for some vanilla and the zest of 1 lemon. And that was actually another tip that it gave. It said do not skip on the lemon zest, that it makes a huge difference. So I thought it was kind of cool that ChatGPT even gave like tips and tricks on the recipe and like making sure you don't skip out on certain things. All right, I think that's a pretty well zested lemon. Scrape that off the back. Then I also want you to do 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm just gonna squeeze the lemon that I zested. So whatever that is what it's getting. Ooh, I have a cut on my finger. Lemon juice never feels good. And I do wanna make sure that I get all the lemon juice because I made something with lemon in it like 2 weeks ago. And honestly, you could barely taste the lemon. So I really wanted to make sure this had plenty of lemon in it. So now I'm just going to whisk all these liquid ingredients with my little bit of sugar in here. And then it wants to add all these liquid ingredients to the dry ingredients. So I'm just going to mix this up, and it specifically says not to overmix. So I just want to be really careful not to do that. And I have to admit, this is smelling pretty good. I mean, it's sugar, flour, lemon, vanilla. I mean, how can it go wrong, right? I hope that's not foreshadowing for how bad this is gonna turn out. Okay, I think that's good and mixed. Now for the strawberries. I'm going to take these and toss them in a tablespoon of all-purpose flour. Just gonna toss this, make sure all the strawberries are good and coated. And like I said before, this is just supposed to help them from sinking to the bottom. And this is completely optional per the directions. These look pretty good and coated. Okay, then it says to specifically just fold in the strawberries. I guess it really doesn't want you to overmix this. Okay, let's gently fold this in. Oh, and it also said walnuts are optional. I am obviously gonna put walnuts in here. Okay, walnuts going in. And I'm just doing like a good handful of them because I'm almost finished and I'm just gonna use the rest of this bag. Fold these in gently. Okay, I think that's pretty folded in. We're gonna put this in a parchment lined pan. Ooh, this thing's heavy. It is a kind of thick batter, to be honest with you. All right, I'm just gonna spread this out evenly in the pan and then going to put it in the oven for 50 to 60 minutes. And then we'll be back a few minutes before it finishes to create the lemon glaze. Chat didn't tell me how much of a mess it was gonna make, but gonna get cleaning. So Chat said it's finished when you can put a toothpick in it and it comes out clean. I think that's pretty clean, and the strawberries didn't sink. This could be really exciting. I'm gonna get this out and let it cool. So the strawberry lemon bread has cooled. Look at how nice it is. You see all the strawberries? It's nice and golden brown. I am quite excited about tasting this ChatGPT recipe. But first we have to do the icing that goes on top. So it's just a cup of powdered sugar and then 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon. So I'm just gonna start off with half of a lemon and then mix that and see if that gives enough liquid to turn this powdered sugar into a lemon icing. Okay, let's mix. It doesn't take a lot of liquid. And I guess it also depends on how thick you want your lemon glaze to be. Like this is, I don't know, that's pretty runny. I don't think I'm gonna need the other half. I guess I'll just make a lemon water. Ooh, I might do a lemon strawberry water. All right, so you're just going to mix this until it's good and combined, good and smooth. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm just going to pour this on to my bread. Probably should have tasted it first now that I think about it. I just assumed that it was gonna be good, but then again, like we're just trusting ChatGPT. I'm not tasting the bread prior to the glaze, so I'm just going to kind of rub that on the bread a little bit. Yum. Okay, moment of truth. I'm just gonna cut a little piece of this. Okay, I'm gonna show you the inside. So as you can see, there's some strawberries for sure, walnuts, and some of the strawberries are on the top, so it did actually, like they did not sink, so that's nice. Okay, I'm going to taste this. This piece here has walnut, strawberry, and lemon glaze. That's actually really good. I give Chat pretty good props on this. I think gosh, I don't know. The bread itself is a little bit dry without the icing. Like without the glaze, it definitely is a little bit drier. And I wonder if that's because it really is like a bread instead of a cake. It definitely has like a bread consistency. It almost tastes like lemon poppy seed. I don't know if that's because of the strawberry seeds that might have gotten into it, but it gives me that lemon poppy seed vibe. But honestly, for a ChatGPT recipe, this is pretty good. I don't know what I would do to make it better. Maybe a little bit more salt. It's very interesting. The lemon glaze is very good. And it definitely is way better with the lemon glaze. But yeah, I think this was so fun. I think you should try it at home. Just if you're craving something fun and unique. Well, I guess this isn't really unique. But if you're craving something and you kind of want your own recipe, ask Chat to come up with it and try it and see what happens. I will put this recipe in the description. And yeah, I'm actually quite pleased. This is everything that I was craving. So, all right, well, I will see you next week. Thanks, bye.